The best quarterbacks in the NFL today did not start week 1, game 1.
So that's what I'm saying. You can go down the list of these things. Nobody's a can't miss, and nobody's a finished product, maybe with the exception of Aiden Hutchinson. Even people have questions about him. So with that being said, I get it, but that's everybody on that list.
Because of the character you're getting with Malik, and not only that, the potential upside, what is your personal evaluation of Malik, and should he be in play for the Lions regardless if they can trade back or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider him at number 2. His game tape just isn't there. You go back and you watch games that he played against good defenses, against ranked teams last year, like Louisiana. Middle Tennessee State has a pretty good defense. They're going to have a safety that's drafted out of there and a cornerback possibly as well. Army, Mississippi. Like, when you watch those games, you don't think you're watching an NFL prospect at quarterback. You think you're watching an athlete who's a little bit overwhelmed by the competition level against Louisiana and Middle Tennessee State. Those are decent college football teams, but that's not Georgia. That's not the NFL.
Right.
It was tough to watch him hold the ball so long, miss throws that I've seen Tim Boyle make in practice at Allen Park. The athletic upside is undeniable. And if the premise is that you're going to draft somebody that can eventually be better than Jared Goff, he's probably the best bet at that, because there's no denying the athletic talent that he has, and also just the personal charisma. Like, I genuinely like him. I stood in front of him at the combine podium. Like, this guy gets it. Like, I want this guy on my team. I love how easy he was at being Malik Willis and comfortable being Malik Willis. That's important. This is the guy that people are going to gravitate towards. But, man, he's so far away as a passer, so far behind where even, like, other projects have been in the past. It's really tough to see that at 2. And quite frankly, all the noise that I'm hearing about Malik Willis being even in the top 10 is coming from media. It's not coming from NFL sources. They're all still like, this guy's, like, maybe in the top 25, maybe more in the top 50. If you go back into the regular season, after they played Mississippi, after they played Louisiana, you didn't see Malik Willis in the first round of mock drafts anymore. He fell out because of his performance. Throwing against air, looking good in workouts, having a great interview, that shouldn't matter that much in his evaluation. Again, I hate to badmouth the guy because I genuinely like him. But, man, you're making a huge leap of faith if you're taking a guy like that, even at 32, not let alone 2.
So that was Jeff Risdon, Lions Wire writer, talking to Adam and Jeff this morning on the Morning Woodward show. There was a lot to chew on there. I mean, really, really differing viewpoints.
Depressing.
Compared to some of the other things we heard. But I will push back a little bit on one thing that he said, because a lot of that is accurate and all that. But the one aspect I will push back on a little bit is to say that it's just media who is talking glowingly about him. Mike Tomlin took Malik Willis out 4 different times. 4 different occasions.
I don't think he's in the media.
No. If you saw Mike Tannenbaum take his whole staff to Liberty's Pro Day and to really highlight some of the facial expressions during Malik Willis's workout. If you're not high on Malik Willis as an NFL organization, if you're Mike Tomlin and you go out with the guy maybe one time, right? You get a sense of who he is. If you think he's worth his salt, one time, not 4. You don't take him out 4 different times. You're not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're not trying to woo this kid or learn everything about him if you don't think he's got what it takes to be on the field. So what did I say about 2 weeks ago? If the Pittsburgh Steelers want a guy, that's who I want.
Yeah.
That's who I want. If the Steelers want him, I want him.
I like that.
Period.
I like that.
Yeah, you listen to this and, Jeff said, I like the guy. I would want him on my team. Apparently, you really don't, And I heard what he said in terms of the teams that they went against, and he didn't look the best on film. Well, yeah, because he went to Liberty, and we talked about didn't have an offensive line, didn't have a running game, didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher, didn't have good wide receivers. He's playing against these teams that are really good. He's an FBS independent school, and that is Liberty. So, but if you go down the list of players in this draft, like, there's no can't miss prospect.
That's the point.
There's not a guy that's a can't miss. And then when you draft Malik Willis, like, oh my God, I can't believe you drafted Malik Willis. You should have drafted who? We should have drafted who? Sauce Gardner's a really good DB. I like Sauce Gardner a lot. Can't tackle.
Detroit.
Derek Stingley Jr.'s best year was his freshman year 3 years ago. He didn't play, had a good year last year. Kyle Hamilton, his best year was his freshman year. Got injured last year, had a decent year, but got injured. Iquanu, the guard from the left tackle from North Carolina State, not really good in the pass protection, really good in the run game. Well, technically, if I'm hiring a left tackle, I want him to be good in the pass game. I need him to protect my quarterback. So that's what I'm saying. You can go down the list of these things. Nobody's a can't miss, and nobody's a finished product, maybe with the exception of Aiden Hutchinson. Even people have questions about him. So with that being said, I get it, but that's everybody on that list.
Well done.
You know who else couldn't hit the broadside of a barn either? Had a huge arm, great physical stature, but really had problems with accuracy.
Russell?
Josh Allen.
No.
Josh, like everything that was just said about Malik Willis, aside from the physical stature of Josh Allen,
Which is huge.
which is huge. There's a 6'5", 230, something like
If
that.
Malik Willis was that, he's the number 1 pick in the draft.
In not only this draft, but in the last 5 drafts.
Right.
Right. So the physical stature, but I think you can develop the guy. And again, you're not asking him to play right away. You're just not. And the best quarterbacks in the NFL today did not start week 1, game 1. You're talking Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
He started. Yeah.
Josh Allen.
He did not start. I mean,
No, I was about to say Russell Wilson, but he did start.
Russell Wilson did start. But I mean, come on.
He's a project. Like, look at Josh Allen. You hit the nail on the head. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Josh Allen's rookie year. Josh Allen had 2,000 yards passing.
They wanted to run him out of town.
Exactly.
Seriously, failed draft pick. What a bust Josh Allen was.
Everybody forgets about all that because of obviously the game against the Chiefs in the playoff. But he struggled that first year. He struggled that second year. But you saw flashes that second year. And then he had a really good third year, and the rest is history. But sometimes people are projects, man. Not everybody is made. Not everybody is ready-made. Sometimes you have to go there. You have to learn from Mark Brunell. You have to learn from Jared Goff playing behind him. So I like him, man. I like the pick. I think they should draft him.
So here's where I'm at, just to put a bow on this. If the Lions select it 2, I want it to be Willis. I almost need it to be Willis for all of the reasons that I've been stating over the last couple of weeks and months. If you give me an offer where I trade back still into the top 10 of this year's draft and you give me a 1 in next year's draft, I'm in. I'll trade it because I think with 3 number 1 picks next year, then you're really setting yourself up for an incredible opportunity to be good for a sustainable amount of time with 3 number 1 picks. So that's where I'm at. Right. If you're picking at 2, it's Malik Willis. If you can trade back into the top 10, add a 1 next year, I'm sold.
I just saw somebody in the chat because I guess I can read the chat on the TV sometimes. Appreciate you, Alex. Someone said Mike Tomlin is the Aaron Rodgers of coaching. Say he hasn't won a playoff game in over a decade. You know what? Tell the Rooney family to open up their pocketbooks. Tell the Rooney family that every time a wide receiver and a running back get good, get really good, stop getting rid of him and bringing in rookie guys, rookie wide receivers. If the Pittsburgh Steelers would help him, he would have more Super Bowls.
It's a great point because that organization has really become...
They don't spend money.
That organization has really become kind of the prototypical just good enough to be good, but will... I don't want to say will never... are nowhere near the elite of the elite to compete for Super Bowls.
Like just think about all the guys they've had, and right when they've got good, they've gotten rid of Emmanuel Sanders, Antonio Brown, Santonio Holmes, Nate Washington, and the list goes on. I can think of more of it.
Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown.
They only paid one person, and that person's name has been Roethlisberger. They won't pay anybody else. You're not going to win if you can't pay other people.
Just good enough to win a playoff game.
There it is.
No more, no less right now. That's what they have become, really, over the last decade, right?
He's doing it in spite, and still hasn't had a losing season in 10 years, by the way. I mean, ever, excuse me.
We're our own worst enemies talking draft. We are just talking ourselves into players, out of players. We don't know what the hell we want.
I have not talked myself out of the player. I've talked myself into the opportunity to trade out of the pick.
Now we're back to trading the pick again.
Right.
Screw you. This is a wicked. This is like a maze.